Howdy folks, Grok the DuckFarmer here, and I'm on the FTOG Stoneblock server, and I'm hanging out here at the sadness that is my Woot structure. You can see there's gaps between the blocks because I took out the controller and used the Draconic Evolution to place it there. That way it's not checking for structure or any of that sort of tick. None of that. Because I'm upset that it just didn't work. Back the last time I used it, I believe was either 1.7 or 1.10. I think maybe 1.10, where you just supplied it energy and it gave you the nether stars after you did all the work to get up to that point, and that was very efficient. This means to get this to work for generating nether stars, for generating EMC, that means I need to make a tier 3 Woot structure, have that generate the wither skeletons, and then use that to get the skulls to then... I want to avoid the tick. That's what I want to do. So that's why I'm up here feeling sad. And all my Woot stuff is stuck right in there because, you know, don't need that right now. Let's head back down to the base area. So, stuff and junk. I left off last time. We were down here processing all of these to make the infinity catalysts, and all of these are unlocked except for that one. So, but if we come take a look, it's doing nothing, and I took and put one of these item conduits down beneath to the storage crate, and it produced all the stuff for me, which was very, very nice. Okay, I lie. There was one ingot of the fluxed electrum that I miscounted, and so I pulled that out. But we've got all of these, which is really, really handy. Let's go ahead and grab all of those. Now, this neutron compressor, let's break it. Doink. If we take a look at it, there's no EMC on it. There was a comment made saying, "Hey, you could use that," and I was going, you know, I could recycle it, except for the fact that there's no way to do that. I'll break all this stuff and take that down. But let's work on making the bits we need for this big bad boy here, the Infinity Catalyst. If we're looking at that, that's where all of these bits are coming in. And if we look at my drawer here, I've got stuff and junk. Let's toss those in place. All right, so I've got a bunch of this stuff done. The Cosmic Meatballs. If we take a look at that, I already had all of these meats. I already got the rabbit from the Mystical Agriculture, so I didn't feel the need to actually make this on camera, because that's easy. I already got the pile of neutrinos, so that's not a problem. The Broken Record, I got that over at the mob farm by tossing in loot bags, and I'm trying to remember, I think it was like the cheapest common loot bags. It's like the second or third loot bag got me a record, and so I got the fragments. That's not a problem. The neutronium ingots, I've got one of each of the bits from neutronium, and if we go upstairs real quick, let me show you how well that's been producing. I've got 58 stacks, almost 59 stacks of neutrinos from this, the neutronium ingots. So I think I'm done. I don't think I need any more of these. If we take a look at the recipes needed for this, this is used in what we're making, the Infinity Catalyst. It's used in making the neutronium solar panels, which I don't think I'm going to make. I already got a freaking huge solar panel upstairs working out really, really nicely. Uses for the Cosmic Meatballs, which I already made, and for the Ultimate Stew, which I still need to make. And that's it. So I really don't need much by way of the tiny piles. The nuggets are, again, used in the Infinity Catalyst, used in the solar panel, and in the transmutation table, which I do want to get. And it has a bunch of these extra fun bits and pieces in here, so I need to keep those around. And if we take a look at the block, that is used in the compressor, which I already made, and that's it. I love how it's got 2, but there's only 1. So I don't really need blocks anymore. We can convert that back into ingots. there's that funky fuzz static going around it, which causes some funky issues with, see how it's going around? It causes some stuff to not work right. Like, this actually should be showing the number, but because of that fuzz, it's overlapping the number. And so I have no count from just looking at how many's there. I have to actually highlight and look at the information at the top. Anyway, back to ingots. If we look at the ingots themselves, there's 15 recipes of this. The armor uses a bunch of these. We already saw the transmutation table, the tools and whatnot. And so I was looking at this and going, I definitely want to make the armor. And then I stopped at this and I went, ooh, yes, I need 69 of these infinity ingots. And that means I need 24 of these ingots here, which is 27 stacks. Well, 26.9, but that's 27 stacks of these neutronium ingots. I've got 58, so I'm good. Let's go ahead and put all those guys back. So yes, now the nice thing about these guys, let's break one, come to Grok, and this does have EMC. So what am I going to do with these? I'm going to dismantle them all down to EMC, except for one. I'm going to keep one in case I need to craft more. But anyway, let's come back to here. If we look at the ultimate stew, one of the things I needed, did I make the Endist Pearl? Here's the Endist Pearl. I thought I had all the stuff. I discovered that I had the ability, let's come back to here, this little guy. That I was so missing that, but I just shift-clicked this stuff right in, and let's go ahead and grab the Endist Pearl, toss that into the recipe, and I think, let's see, dark steel block, chickens, steel block, chickens, endurium block, chickens. So I got all those. The crystal matrix, that's being made upstairs. The diamond lattice is just 5 diamonds in an X pattern. So done. We already covered making all of the singularity bits. So if we look at everything, the only thing left is the ultimate stew. So neutrino, no problem. Water essence, fire essence, those are pretty easy to make from mystical agriculture. That's a tier 2? Oh, tier 1. The fire is a tier 2 thing, and that took very little time to make those. Wheat, carrots, potato, dragon fruit, and beets, fine. Garlic, soybeans, eggplant, broccoli, all of those things are Pam's harvest craft. Well, how do you get dragon fruit? I've got dragon fruit. How do you get dragon fruit? Well, the easiest way I found was to get the market from farming for blockheads. You place it down, and it gives you a villager. Hello there, villager. At which point you can come in here and say, I want dragon fruit. And it tells you it's 1 emerald. So you put an emerald there. You can pull out your dragon fruit sapling. And if we come running over here, I decided to stick them over in this direction. Here's my dragon fruit sapling. You see we got some dragon fruits here. Also a peppercorn sapling. So I needed that for a later recipe. Let's grab 2 of those peppercorns. Run on back. And so I've been looking at all that and going, yeah. Oh, the one fun thing when you break this, he explodes and he's gone. Here's the other thing that's really fun with this. I initially put it here, and I heard that sound, and I said, what's that? And then I started hearing a villager dying, and I said, what? Where's the villager? So I broke it, and it exploded. I was really confused for a little bit, then I realized, okay, I've got to give him some space. But here, we'll not generate the guy anymore. Poor guy, getting all beat up and everything. All right, so that's where I got my dragon fruit, the beetroot. I also used the market to get the garlic, the soybeans, the eggplant, and the broccoli. Carrot soup is real easy to make. It's just carrots, some sort of cream, and cream is easy. It's just milk of some sort in the mixing bowl. And hey, I've got a cow in a jar. That was one of the rewards from the loot bags from the mob farm. So I stuck the cow up here. That's how I got that milk. The meatloaf, let's take a look at the recipe for that. That's just some sort of meat, which we've got bread. I had to make some bread. Onions, I had to go back to the market to get the onions. Ketchup. Ketchup is tomatoes. Oh, okay. Let me go back to the market and get me some tomatoes and grew that. Pumpkins. Pumpkins is 3 pumpkins together. And that gives you 3 of these pumpkins. And I'm only going to use 1. Coarse fruit I picked up over in the end, so that's not a problem. Beef jerky is just salt and some sort of beef. And I had the beef, and I had a salt chicken. Salt. I had a salt chicken that I got when I was breeding the water and lava chickens. And I don't remember what I was looking for, water, lava, obsidian? But that was a byproduct, that guy, and so I stuck him in there to make that happen. Epic bacon, you can make that, but I already got a bunch of that from quest rewards, so I didn't have to make it, which is good. Raw beef, raw pork chop, rabbit stew. Rabbit stew was pretty easy. I had all these bits, I just needed to bake a potato, which I hadn't done before. And this little bad boy. Well, let's go see what that bad boy is. Beetroot soup. So if we look at that, that needs beet soup, and we'll turn that into beetroot soup. I'm having issues today. So a pot, a beet, an onion, some milk, and black pepper. Black pepper is taking the peppercorn and the mortar and pestle. So let's go ahead and do that. You can see I've got everything ready here, except that's the wrong peppercorn. Mortar and pestle. Let's make that. Because you could have pre-ground black pepper on hand for this recipe, but in our household we call that communist pepper. No, you grind your pepper when you need it because that gives you the most flavor. And we're not going to be wimpy about flavor. We're going to do it right. So beet soup, all the rest of the stuff can go away. That gives us the beetroot soup. And I'm having a hard time keeping that in track. Okay, so that should be all of the ingredients for the ultimate stew. Let's click those in. Yay, ultimate stew. And that should give me all the ingredients I need. Let's put these 3 away for my infinity catalyst. Let's grab them all. Whoop. Oh, wow. Just enough room for that. Oh, no, I've got to click my infinity catalyst because I don't want to do it many. There we go. There is that stinking infinity catalyst that took a while to do. And if we count the EMC on that, hundreds, thousands, millions, 3.4 billion EMC. Because am I going to be making this anymore? No. I am not going to be sitting there and compressing all of these singularities. No, not going to do this. It has EMC. Ooh, quest. It has EMC, so I'm going to be doing that. In fact, let's go over here. Oh, do you like my setup? I am using this to make EMC. So let's come back over here. And I'm using the XNet cables because they're extremely server friendly. So let's click on that. And you can see I've been making these crystal matrices, which is just 9 of these crystals. So let's go ahead and click that. And the 3 million, almost 4 million, doesn't even register here. But you can see there was a quick flash of an emerald and an emerald block, and that ticked up really, really fast. So that's what I'm doing here. Let's get around these guys. I have 9 of these chickens. These are the 10-10-10s, and they're producing emeralds for me. And I have 1 other set of 10-10-10 emerald chickens downstairs, so I have emeralds on hand. Likewise, my diamonds here are ticking along, and my Terra Steel, because the Terra Steel is a decent amount of EMC. I could put 10 here, because the server rules is you can have 10 of any one breed of chicken. 10 roosts full of 16 chickens. And it's producing, if we take a look at this, all of these things, and I showed this off before, but it's got a lot more roosts in here. All of these items are going into my energy collector, into my compressor, whatever the chest is, and then it's been generating for me these crystal matrices. Let's go ahead and pull those all out. This is an input into the system. So I can sit there and shift click all those in, or just right click, and you saw how it just slurped all those right in. Still not enough to make one of the infinity ingots. So the rule here, if it's coming out of my energy condenser, it will extract from there and put it into that drawer. And still don't have enough. But that's okay, because I can go upstairs. I've been running that for a while. Crystal, if we look at crystals, I've got 6.3K. I've got 25 billion RF, which is not enough to do a lot of these, but it's enough to start. I think this should be enough to make a second, a second one of these infinity catalysts. That's a lot of EMC. That is so much EMC. And how many of these infinity catalysts do I need? I need 69 of them times 11. There's my second. I need 69 of these times 11 plus 4 for the armor. That's a lot of EMC. That is a huge amount of EMC. So it's going to be an issue. And you can notice, unfortunately, because it's got that extra funky wah 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 around the icon, the number doesn't show. That'd be nice if it would show. All right, so wow, I got 2 out of that. Oh, very cool. Okay, I'm going to put these away carefully into my system. Let's go ahead and put you there. And Crystal, let's go ahead and grab another set of these. So now, as my system generates, it's going to be producing these catalysts for me. And these guys are pumping in EMC. Let's go look downstairs at the other system that is pumping in EMC for me over here. This is my emerald crops. Now, yes, nether star crops will produce more EMC than the emerald blocks, but let's take a look at that. Nether star. If we look at a block of, no, that's the correct. So this is just 9 of these. That's 1,000,000.2. So 1.25 million EMC for 9 of these stars. But if we look at emerald blocks, those, it's, 194. So it's way smaller. It's very similar. It's okay. This block is a bit more than a single nether star. So why am I raving about doing a block of emeralds instead of a nether star? Well, here's why. If we look at my, let's have to reach through here. If we look at the crafter, it makes these emerald essences from the plants. 9 of those emerald essences gives me an emerald, and 9 of those emeralds give me a block. Well, for the nether shards, the nether stars, it takes 9 of these. Does it take 9? Yeah, it takes 9 of the essences from the plants to make a shard, and it takes 3 of those shards to make a nether star. And so I was looking at that and going, we got multiple processes going on. Why not emeralds? Why? Well, because we break this down, break that there. I've got a couple of these nether star cruxes. Not a huge number of them. I've got like 5 of them. And it took a while to make those nether star cruxes. In fact, if we go back here, look at the crux, that one there. That requires 2 nether stars, blocks of insanium. It requires 20 insanium essences. And these withering souls from, you can either do a plant or you can kill the witherers and get those. And I figured, to make an entire field, that's 80 blocks of those cruxes, so that I could grow the nether star crop. I said, that's too much work. I can do just as well without that extra layer of the cruxes with the emeralds. So that's why I'm doing that. And you can see I've got a lot of these crystals in place. Let's see, where did that extra one? Oh, because that was an extra one I got. You can see I put it right in there. I got these tier 3s and tier 4s from the loot bags. So I was looking at my mob farm, and I would run it for a while I was online, let it generate the loot bags, because I really didn't care about everything else. And then I was doing the top tier, trying to think, is that the loot bags? That's the one, legendary loot bag. It's the 256 loot of these to make one of those. And so I was using those, so it took a while, but these are fairly good. In fact, if we take a look at this, since there's fairly few of these, and those no longer appear, and those no longer appear because they've been disabled, too much disruption, this works out very, very nicely. And so I got a good bundle of those. And then a lot of these things that have EMC, like the diamond chest plates have EMC, the mana steel has EMC, these golden apples have EMC. I've just been recycling them away. And I've got this ender chest here, which I had over at the mob farm, but right now any of these emerald blocks go into the ender chest, which go upstairs to my EMC factory. And so this is making for me EMC, and it's doing a pretty good job. You can see how it's ticking along, and it's generating a pretty decent crop. Oh, I switched from my farmer from Actually Additions to the cyclic harvester, because you can tell it to do an area. And I'm doing 9x9 because I don't need to do a super huge area, because I'm telling it to do the entire area in one go. Boom, there, it just harvested the entire area. And I could come in here and right-click this with my accelerator, and I think 3 or 4 clicks and it pretty much grows them all. But you can see the tick here of these guys growing is much faster because all of these guys are on here, which can lead to the question, Grok, why are you using so many of those items? Isn't that bad on the server? No, actually it's not. I've done some tests with the lag goggles, and yeah, I had a huge stack of these above and below a field, and about 3 of these had 1 tick count, and that was it. This had this was about 20 some odd. The conduits that were being used were way, way higher, which were those teleposers, translocators, the translocators. They were a huge tick, and so that's why I moved them all to the item conduits, because they never had anything. Occasionally they would have 1. So this is very server friendly. Again, I'm not surrounding my field by a mass of sprinklers. I'm not doing that silly stuff. It's working great, and it will automatically process the stuff for me, and I think that works out really well. Oh, let me show you one other thing I've been doing. I came down here. What happened to my tape? Let's come around here. Tape. What? I had some tape. There it is. Packing tape. It was right there, and I didn't look at it. You can see these items have, because I've got these guys go into my main storage, and they no longer go into all these compressed stuff or the compressed ingots and whatnots. But if we look at a block of lead, it's got EMC. If we look at a block of nickel, it's got more EMC. If we look at the block of emeralds here, that's got a decent amount of EMC, and so that's why I'm using that one. But the numbers are fairly low on some of these. Here, let's put these guys back. Because I had gone through and needed all of that to make these compressed, and then I went through and said, right now I don't need this much lead. Do I really need 26,000 blocks of lead? No, I don't. So I come over here, I find my lead Iron, nether quartz. Where's my lead? There's my lead guy. Let's pull him out. And then I slap this guy with the tape. Break it. Come to Grok. And, oh, it's over here. And then I go up to my EMC area. And you see I've got this spot right here. Shift click that into place, and it starts sucking these out. If you look, it's got the number of the blocks of lead. It's doing a stack at a time, and it's shoving it away. And if I'm bored, I'll come here and I'll shift click a bunch of these guys and stick them into there. So it's eating it up at 2 stacks at a time per second instead of doing just 1. You know, if I'm bored, which, you know, sometimes I was saying, let's just shove them in there. Feed it, eat it. And that will give me more of these catalysts faster, or the crystal lattices, the lattices that I was doing. So that works out really well. So I can feed this a lot of EMC. Now I do want to have some of these. I'm tempted to set up another configuration so that these guys fill up. They're the #1 setup, and it no longer has the void. And then there will be a drawer that these ingots go to. Probably actually best to do another compacting drawer. Hey, I've got all those compacting drawers downstairs. I could have them go into a compacting drawer that then gets sucked into that same ender chest, which is hiding back here. Yep, right there. And that way, all the excess stuff that the chickens down there are producing that I don't need can just get funneled right into making EMC. And since the chickens are already producing already, it's not like I'm, you know, putting an extra burden onto the system. Yep, still 1. It's going to take a long time to make a lot of these. But that's okay. I still have other plans in the server. Oh, and I also have all these neutron collectors to collect up and get rid of, except for 1. And that I'm going to go ahead and do. I just need to keep a controller. I don't think that actually has a value. XNet controller. It does have an EMC value. So I'm trying to keep hold of 1 item that has an EMC value so that I can duplicate that over there in this simple little stack. And while I'm not duplicating it, I'm just using the crystal matrix because that's a decent amount of EMC. You can see it's not a huge amount. Again, this doesn't tick a huge amount, so I could make a whole bunch of these power flowers. You know, I've got the initial items here. I could duplicate them with EMC, and oh hey, it actually shows me the number. If I get, yep, right there, I get too close, and the particle effect around it eats up the number. Anyway, I could sit there and I could have in this room probably 9 of these power flower groups. I don't care. They are minimal tick, so it's not a big deal. But I'm getting far more EMC from these guys than from that structure. So I'm in the long run, I think it may save me 1 out of 11 stacks, 12 stacks of these catalysts that I need. I'm not that concerned. Nope. Anyway, that's what I've been doing here. And I needed a little cleanup here, recover the EMC, and figure out some other ways of low impact EMC gathering. But yeah, this end game EMC takes a lot. It takes a huge lot. But there's still some fun stuff. I may get a tier 6 miner up there, but probably not. The tier 5 gives me everything I need, and it's working just fine. I do want to get a nanobot beacon going. I love those, and I should be able to make that fairly easily, but not right now. That's another video. Anyway, this has been Grok the DuckFarmer here, dealing with way too much EMC on the server, but I do like Project E. It's just really big recipes with the add-on of, what is it called? What is this? Ritia. whatever it's pronounced, those have some monster huge recipes to take advantage of the stuff. And I like it. But it's just going to take a while. And that's okay. Anyway, this has been Grok the DuckFarmer here on the FTOG Stoneblock server, having a blast. And thanks for watching. Bye.